everybody, and welcome out to another Top 10 list here on the Dice Tower. My name is Chris Yee.
I'm Camilla Cleghorn.
And I'm not doing that.
You don't want to show off your full shirt like we did? Look at the full
this
shirt.
great shirt of mine.
Look at that. Wow.
Joe, yeah. There's more I think I told Chris. I'm like, I had up to here with this, whatever. He's like, is that high?
Only here, yeah.
But I'm like, I don't raise my arm very high in the mornings. He's like, so there's room to go? I'm like, no, I wasn't really committed.
You're not committed. That is why you fail. So today we're doing a top 10 list. The topic is games that we would have loved to have had when we were teenagers. Now, I don't know about your experience. When I was a teenager, I was not really playing hobby board games.
No, I was not.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
There's a big pause.
But
no, I did Hero Quest because D&D wasn't allowed in my house. Because it was evil, thanks Tom Hanks, but it was...
I'm going to blame everything on Tom Hanks now.
It was his movie, though. But no, so Hero Quest was pretty much it, I think, as far as hobby.
Okay, I didn't play any hobby ones. We had board games. I played Clue, I played Racco, I played Mancala. My brothers really liked card games. They played a lot of Rook, stuff like that. But
Rook, yeah, okay.
That was really close.
Rook.
That was super close. Okay. Yeah, so things like that, but it wasn't hobby board games, no.
Right, and so I was in rock bands. I had my long hair back in the day, and I was...
Because you can't play board games with long hair. Yeah.
I was cool.
Cool.
My water bottle spilling gallons of water on the floor.
Did either of y'all, in making this list, check to make sure that the game wasn't around when you were a teenager?
I thought about it.
Okay.
But I was like, you know what? Even if it was, I wasn't playing it.
Okay. And so, because I did, and I made sure, and there was one that was like, whew, it was like the year I graduated high school. It's like, that counts, as being able to include it. But now I'm like, no, I wish I had as a teenager. Right. So it just meant I didn't have access, or I didn't play it, not that it wasn't. So my list is invalid, is what I'm saying.
Thanks, Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
Everything is Tom Hanks. There was one I did not put on there. I was like, I wish we had Axis and Allies and zombies, because I had one guy that's all he would bring, and I'm like, you know what? Throw zombies in, maybe I'll be better friends with him.
Maybe.
We talked about this very briefly the other day when I was thinking about games for this list. I was thinking about what would teenage Chris have really enjoyed, and for my own sake, I didn't include anything that would involve like a smartphone or a tablet or something like that. And that's not on anybody else, but I was just thinking, like, my own logic that I got hung up on was, if I went back in time and was like, hey, 17-year-old, 14-year-old Chris, like, here's, Lord of the Rings Journey to Middle-earth, you'll love it. I would just be like, what's this computer?
See,
it's so flat.
I went back and forth on that as well, and I decided on the other side. I think it's completely valid to say, hey, you can't include them unless you're Joey, because he's just mean. But I think it's completely valid if you didn't. But for me, I was like, it's a whole fantasy list anyway. We're living in an alternate reality, like if this was. So I did include. I went back and forth with two of them and included one, didn't include the other.
And that's true, because there are a couple that I was like, want to, but...
Yeah, just one.
Does the app. But then also, I imagine the same group of friends growing up in the same situation, what games would you play back then? What I wish that group would have had. You know, so it's... Yes,
it's a little
with
bit
your apps. You walk there to the tablet. Look at this, guys.
You get burned at the stake for witchcraft. Like, computers can't be this flat. My iMac is like 15 inches thick, okay?
So I do have one that requires an app on here. But actually, there might be an app-free way. Anyway.
But I like your point that this is a fantasy list anyway. This is going to be 0% informational for anyone at home, but I hope that it's fun. So why don't we go ahead and get it kicked off with number 10.
Ooh, number 10.
Anyway. Sorry, I just ripped my list right there. That was a mess. Okay.
That's how much you were like, invalid!
Just so like that. Actual footage of me. I feel better. Now we both have, that was actually half your list.
No, that was a different piece of paper.
Oh, good. Okay, well played. All right. This is going great. All right. My number 10 is, I already forgot, is Ink and Gold. I think that a nice push your luck kind of just big group social game would be so much fun. I spent a lot of time in church groups playing like Bang, I think is what we played. Not the dice games. It wasn't
A
out
lot of
yet.
syllables in that.
That's how we pronounced it where I was.
7 A's in that one. And a few
Bang.
hyphens.
Yes, we played Bang, and we also played a lot of Werewolf and things like that. And so just those larger group games, a little bit of social deduction. This isn't social deduction, obviously, but I do like Push Your Luck better as a mechanism. And I think if I had Ink and Gold, we
good.
would have played the absolute heck out of this. I think it's so much fun. It's you just get excited, you know, but it has a lot of angst and energy to it, but in a positive way.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot of just good interactions, and I think that we would have just played this like in my church group. We would have played it at home. I would have played it. Probably, honestly, would have taken it to swim meets also to play it, like in between sessions, things like that. I think this would have been a really big one.
This is a good one. If I would have thought of it, probably would have been on my list because
Yeah.
it's such a good push your luck, quick.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Instead
a good
you put
one.
Diamond.
I did see, and one thing I hate when you ask somebody if you put Ink and Gold, they say, "Oh, do you mean diamond?" I'm like, "You're the worst."
You're like,
you know, it's
Yeah, avocado's a fruit.
it's like, come on,
I get
man. Let's just roll with it. You know what I'm talking about. But
Right.
yeah, it's a good one. This is a good one.
I think
agree.
this would have had a ton of table time in multiple realms.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean,
and
no
social
app,
groups.
but it's fun.
No app. No.
Okay, so my number 10 is King of Tokyo.
Oh, I considered this one. Good pick.
This one, because just imagine, I mean, it's fun enough as an adult, but you don't get as animated as an adult with this normally as you would if you're a teenager. Because I've actually played this with teens, and it's really good. I mean, this was one that during the hurricane, we actually had like, the power went out, and we had teens playing this for, I mean, hours and hours on end. It's such a good game.
It is.
And it's quick, it's easy to learn, everyone can jump into it, but it's a battling game that's got so much depth. So anyway, I mean, I know you don't have to talk about this much at all, everybody knows the game, but this right here for me is a great game at that age.
And you know why this is such a good pick? That's a compliment. See,
That-
I just
wow.
needed to point it out for you. Yeah.
Rarity.
So this is such a good pick because we're all familiar with Yahtzee, and again, that's another
Right.
game I played during this time, and I didn't like it. I didn't want to. It was like,
Yeah.
fine, another Yahtzee, but so it's going to have that familiarity of that time. But again, something different that's going to be more exciting.
Right.
You know, so I think that's
Oh, yeah, I
good.
didn't mean to
Sorry,
interrupt. Yeah, it's
no,
good.
you didn't. No, I thought that was done. I wasn't sure what my last word was. I hadn't decided.
I think that Yahtzee is one of those games. I wonder how many games have you played of Yahtzee simply because everyone knows the rules. So
Absolutely.
it's like, okay, we'll play this one then.
Right.
Yeah.
And I enjoy it, but if I had the choice to pick as a teenager between Yahtzee or King Kong versus Godzilla Yahtzee,
Right.
Right.
That
yes.
one.
Yeah.
The King versus Gigazor. It's not
Yeah.
King Kong Godzilla. It's trademarked.
Yes, you're right. I apologize. My lawyers will be contacting me shortly. I don't know where I'm going with this joke.
Anyway, good pick. I did consider it. So well done, Joey. Good start.
Excited.
Number 9, Terraforming Mars.
My number 10 is, oh man, this is, so much of my list is driven by theme, because I think that where I was as a teenager, right, but tying in a little bit of familiarity with another game and a great theme, my number 10 is Mysterium. Right? That idea
Oh,
that,
really?
Okay.
kind of like how Yahtzee to King of Tokyo is a very
okay.
good logical leap. Clue to Mysterium, another great logical leap, right? Who
Yeah.
done it, in what room with what weapon. But the idea of playing as a team and doing this clue-giving game, I feel like that's familiar,
Yeah.
but also just done in such a cool, unique way in this game. I know that you champion Obscurio. I still
Yes.
haven't tried that one, actually.
Oh,
But
really?
I think that they're kind of in a similar vein of game,
Yeah.
right?
They're very similar vein of game. I would not say one replaces the other, but it is, to me, Obscurio is a little more game to it,
Okay.
you know, whereas this is just more like straightforward trying to give clues to lead to a direction. You know, so it's a little
Right.
bit more mechanisms behind it,
Right.
if that makes sense. It's a little meatier.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would not say one replaces the other by any means.
Yeah,
even.
just as clean as Mysterium is, it's so fun. It's that perfect kind of like moody kind of a game.
Yeah.
You know, you can kind of turn down the lights a little bit, like, oh, it's like Halloween now, we're gonna do this, whatever. You know, to hang out at my slumber parties with all my besties, and like Mysterium would have been a big hit for me as a teenager.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just
for
got
sure.
that look that it's like, yeah, it's cool.
I
Good
didn't,
pick.
Gosh.
I didn't host slumber parties.
3 for 3. We're doing good.
We're
You didn't
killing
host.
it so far.
All right, so number 10, Mysterium.
haven't.
I have my list. Get your eyes off my list. All right. Chris, we might have been friends as teenagers. I hate to alarm you.
As teenagers.
As teenagers, I might have gotten along with you.
We talked about this at one point. Like, you were like a cool athlete kid, and you're like, no, I was a big loser.
I was a super loser. Like,
So
I
was
was a super loser athlete. Yes, that's how I describe my
I
teenage
was
years.
a super loser in a rock band.
Yeah,
So,
we totally would have gotten along then. Because my number 9 is Mysterium as well.
Really?
Well, not as well. Yours was
Wow.
10, but yes, Mysterium. So I actually didn't think we'd have any crossovers on this list. We didn't talk about that, but I was like, no crossovers. So anyway, Mysterium for everything that you said. I think, again, that larger group getting together, just that kind of frustration of trying to limited communication in a group, interpret different things. Like, I think that would have been, I mean, whatever. I guess it's not full co-op. Anyway, whatever. I think that this would have been fantastic, just in that bigger group, trying to figure that out. Just those angst moments of like, oh no, yes. There's so much excitement behind this. I know, I was really excitable as a teenager. I've calmed down.
Yes.
But
Aged like a fine cheese.
in my older years here, I'm much calmer than a teenager. But I just really think that, again, that angst and that group setting, again, with the moodiness of it, that those late nights kind of playing, I really think that this would have been a lot of fun as a teenager, really getting into it. Really also kind of testing the limits of creativity, I guess, and trying to interpret clues and give clues. And in a way, you almost learn people through this game as well. Without that like forced get to know you games, you kind of learn how people think.
I was about to say that exact same sentence.
Really?
That crowd surfing game we looked at, the cozy, real, juicy. Like, this has those positive moments of like understanding other people and leading to conversation without being like, draw a card that says, tell someone about a very sensitive moment in your life. Like, no, I don't want to do that.
Oh, right. But yeah, you do get to know each other in this, and the taste and the way each other think, and how do you work together. I just think there's a lot of fun moments that come out of Mysterium that really would have been accentuated during those teenage years for me. So,
I like that.
How about you?
I'm not on that. All right, so pretty much, I grew up in Kentucky, so a couple of big things in that state. Basketball is huge.
It is.
Played it growing up, and it's just, but there's no good basketball game even now. I haven't played basketball and all that. But there's one other thing, and that is horse racing is huge in
I thought you
Kentucky.
were going to say bourbon. Yeah.
And my
We're going.
here's the game, distilled. But no, I was looking at Ready, Set, Bet, but I'm like, you know what? We wouldn't have played that growing up. But one we would have is Camel Up. And Camel Up
Famous Camels of Tennessee.
Yeah.
but the whole thing of the
But it's
racing
Kentucky,
game,
so it does count.
it's so fun, and the wackiness of it, the craziness of it, and this is actually a picture of us playing. And this is one that even still I bring out, and it is a blast to play because the best part is you really have no idea what's going to happen. The camels start going the other way, and every time, even as adults, you stand up cheering, yelling, and it's just the craziness of this. I still love this game. Probably love it more than anyone else in the office. I do
Really?
love this game.
I haven't played it yet.
Did you say no good basketball teams? No good basketball
Agreed.
games. Wow, that hurts right there. But no, so Camel Up is one that I think I would have loved as a teen. And it also plays a large group too.
Wow.
That's a good pick.
I think there's going to be so many really good picks. Like,
I think so.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
as a baseline, if I don't yell at you, I probably agree with that pick.
Okay, good.
Yeah. My number 9.
You're double checking to see if he's going to yell anytime. I did the same thing. I'm like,
Not how many crossovers. How many will I make Chris mad at? This is getting back to y'all for nature.
Also, you know what? Really quick prediction-wise, I don't think I'm going to cross over on probably anything else here with any of y'all. There's like a teeny choice on my teeny chance on my number 5. All right.
There's a little choice on one. Okay.
My number 9 is a big group game that for me I wish I had to replace all the times I played Werewolf. My number 9 choice is The Resistance. This is a game that I don't currently really love. I'm very burnt out on a lot of social deduction games.
Yeah.
I'll play one every once in a while. It's not even a genre that I keep wanting to go back to. But as a teenager, like, this would have just blown the doors wide open to say, like, there's more than werewolf out there.
Right. A little more to werewolf, even.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and when I was in the circles I was in, we always played Mafia, but it was the exact
Right.
same
Yeah,
game.
that's
Which is werewolf.
what I say. Yeah. When I say werewolf, I actually mean mafia.
I agree.
So
Yeah.
it's just people know werewolf more.
Right, and people always just put together however they hobbled it together. Like, here's a piece of paper. I'm going to write like werewolf villager, blah blah blah, or like use a deck of cards or whatever it was. We never had like a published version of Mafia ever, but to have another big group game that you could have as an alternative to doing that, because Mafia's fine, you play it once or twice, but like I was in circles that wanted to play it every time we had like 6, 7 people together. Like that's okay, but I to have an alternative to that, that'd have been so nice.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, just to mix it up.
Yeah,
100%.
I debated putting ones that I like more than this. I debated putting Feed the Kraken on there and stuff.
Yeah.
That too.
I think there's something to be said about the pure great simplicity that the Resistance has. So,
Right, it's a little step up, but it's still super simple.
Exactly.
Yeah, more complicated games will come on my list, but something about the purity of this one that I respect a lot. So my number 9, Resistance.
It's interesting.
All right, so y'all are learning all kinds of things about me. I was nerdy. I was highly excitable as a teenager. I was also very macabre. So my number 8 is The Bloody Inn. I think I would have been fascinated by this game. I would have been like, also, fun fact, for a long time, I wanted to be a mortician is what like I wanted to go to school for. So my parents were like, you got to be a doctor. I was like, done. I'm dead bodies.
I want them to be already dead.
Yeah, I'm like, I do not want that responsibility. No, thank you. So yeah, no, that was like my dream job growing up.
Probably fewer malpractice lawsuits. Right?
Yeah, right, exactly, yeah. So anyway, I would have been absolutely fascinated. I also really went through a time when I liked like the psychology behind serial killers and like the stats of them and that kind of stuff. So
you
anyway,
wanted to be a serial killer when you grew up?
I was playing with the idea.
Still time.
You know, anyway, but I just think that this one would have just, again, you talked about that simplicity and just would have blown my mind, like how much can be done with just a deck of cards and the whole trying to plot out, and again, just that strategy behind it of who do you kill, who do you ally, who stays in your hotel versus who do you kill in order to ally with them. You know, all of this stuff, I really think that this would have just absolutely fascinated me. I do like the game now. I think I would have absolutely loved it and been so annoying to people with how much I wanted to play this. I'd be like, but have you been to the Bloody Inn? I mean, do you want to play? You know, like, I think I would have been all over this game. Yeah, the Bloody Inn for my number 8.
This is a good pick.
It would have absolutely checked so many boxes for me. Yeah.
It's that horror theme is so fascinating, at least for me as a teenager, you know?
Yes.
It's like, and that kind of fits in my next one, because my next one, I love hidden movement, and I would have loved that more as a kid. And like right now, I like mind management because it's quick, but quick doesn't matter when you're a teenager. So when I was a teenager, I would go to the hidden movement game that I would have loved to play if I had the time, and that's Fury of Dracula. This right here, right now, this has kind of been pushed aside for mind management because mind management can be in 60 minutes. But this, as a teenager, I mean, you've got all the time in the world, and you've got that battle mechanic when you actually catch up with it, and you can rotate that person in and out. That's Dracula. I mean, that right there that's a lot of fun. And then to be able to fool your friends and move and like, hey, you can't find me. The taunting that would happen in this game is just enormous. And I think as a teenager, we would have loved this game. You know, just the minis on the board, the look of it, and all that. I think this would have been a huge hit.
That's cool.
Because again, the Dracula, the monster theme, which I love.
Yeah, again, another one I haven't tried that's on my, I'm very interested in, just haven't had a chance, is that and Camel Up. So
It's great.
2 for 2 on the last.
You played Camel Up?
I haven't. I said that.
My
when
goodness.
you presented it.
I keep blocking it out.
When you weren't listening. Do you
Have you
remember?
played Camel Up? Block it out immediately.
Well done, Joseph. Well done. No, I think that's a cool pick. And I agree with your point that time is less a factor when you're younger, and I miss that so much.
It's hard because time is less of a factor,
But
as well as I think that repeat campaigns would have been more appealing as well. And I think my list does generally tend lighter. Because while time isn't a factor, attention span is also harder to pick or harder to balance. So I will say my list, with a few exceptions, is going lighter as well. That's for me.
Yeah, so going to my number 8 here, this is one that is, I've only played this one a handful of times. I would like to play it more to kind of get a gauge. It is big and sprawling in such a cool way. It has 2 different names. I'm going with the older name. My number 8 pick is Age of Empires 3.
Really?
So this was later reprinted as Empires Age of Glenn Drover's Empires, Age of Discovery. And so,
Oh, I see at the bottom.
Okay.
So they did. Okay.
yeah, so
I don't know this game at all.
So the original printing of this Age of Empires is kind of based off of the video game theme. It's like a StarCraft, Warcraft, like real-time strategy type game, which is funny because the board game is like a worker placement game. So it's definitely not at all like the video game that it's based off. But that would have excited me as a kid. I was less tainted from bad board game versions of video games.
Oh.
Right?
That's fair.
But this idea of having worker placement, I'm going to explain this in the modern sense, then I'll talk about it in the teenage sense, right? Great game because worker placement, unique different types of workers, you program out all of your actions, and then you fire off them all on the right side of the board there from top to bottom. And so you're sailing out to the new world, and you're fighting each other for control of different areas. You're upgrading workers into more specialized type of workers, better fighters, better at gathering your resources, better at building new buildings and stuff. Ones that make different areas of the map worth more victory points, so that if you still maintain the majority of it while having that type of worker there, it's worth more and more points, but it's putting a bigger target on your back. Like, all that is really clever and great game-wise. But as a kid, I think I would have loved the fact, like, wow, a board game based on a video game.
Oh, right.
You know, how cool is that? That's not,
Yeah.
you know, just like roll and move Pac-Man from 1976 or whatever. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a full, robust, cool-looking game with soldiers that we can fight each other and whatnot. That's what I would care about. Modern
Right.
Chris cares about how clever it is.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And you have no.
I have not played this.
I've never heard of it. So.
It's very good. It is really good.
cool.
Yeah. So you probably won't find this printing of it anymore. You'll find the newer one,
Okay.
which I think honestly does look better.
Gosh, I like that cover though.
It's pretty.
Yeah, the cover is
Yeah,
cool.
lovely.
The newer cover doesn't look as good, but the newer board looks better.
Got it. Okay.
Okay.
So there's that disconnect.
Yeah. So there you go. I want to just I want to fight people and take their land. Age of Empires 3.
3.
All right, so like I said, I think my list is going to be more light for the most part, with a couple exceptions, and I don't have a lot of Euros on here.
I kind of did the
I
same
think
thing.
this might be my only one. Yes, this is my only Euro because I don't think I'd be interested in that. But this one I think is a Euro, but it's still a lighter one, I think, and because of that, this game I think catches some slack or is considered one of Ryan Lockett's not one of his better ones, and that is Above and Below.
Ooh.
It's not that it's not one of his
Okay.
better ones, it's not one of his best ones. But I think as a teenager, this would have been a perfect blend for me of those Euro mechanics where I was thinking and I was planning out and I could get enough of the story and kind of that story element just be enough to scratch that itch and really interest me that I would seek that out. But yet also quick and snappy enough and not overwhelming that, again, short attention span as a teenager as I was. I really think that this one would have sang. That being said, this is one of my favorite Ryan Lockett's. I still really like it, but I think especially teenage me would have appreciated the lighter mechanisms of this, the little bit of story and the rolling the dice, you know, so a little bit of that Ameritrashy kind of randomness to it, but at the base, you're still resource management, you know, and managing your people through their different actions. So this would have been a really sweet Euro spot for me, even though it is a little bit lighter in the gameplay.
Yeah, I mean, and the world that it's in is very built up.
Right.
So
Yes.
I think that makes it much more appealing.
Right. Yeah. And so this one again of that world, the Azarium, whatever the world's called, I think it's definitely become more built up through Near and Far, through Now and Never, through, I guess Sleeping Gods is a different one, right?
Yeah.
It's actually, yeah, it's a separate word.
Arzium.
Arzium.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Rome is also in that world, but I think
Here and there.
it's definitely,
This and that.
yeah, yep.
Hither and thither.
Yeah, but I think it's definitely built up and become more lore.
good one.
But of all of them, this one, the look, the little bit of story, but not overwhelming story, not reading huge passages, it would have absolutely sang to me as a teenager.
It's interesting you chose this one out of all of them. Nice.
Yeah.
All right, that's a good one. My number 7 is going to be one that I love the IP so much growing up. I mean, of course, there's a comic book store you still went to when you're a teenager. And this is, I really wish this existed, and it is Marvel Champions. Not much more to say about this. This right here, I mean, it would have been great because when you grow up, you always have the person you follow. You know, it got changes later with movies and stuff. Mine was like Spider-Man. I was really big about that. Of course, notice he is front and center. But this is really cool. Everybody likes their different characters, and that right there would have been great. Because right now I play this as a pure whatever deck it tells me to use it. But you would have built it and stuff as a teenager. I would have really tried to find those combinations that work for different people. This would have been a great game to have as a kid. You know, to be able to look forward to each of those coming out month after month. This would have been a fantastic system to have. I know Magic and things like that, but this was would have been more my speed.
Got it.
Did you do collectible stuff as a teenager?
I didn't. Well, you know, you occasionally did Garbage Pail Kids and all that stuff. But no, I didn't because nothing ever intrigued me as much as this probably would have. And again, because it's not technically a CCG where you can buy the pack as is.
Right.
My parents probably would have been more okay with this than they would a pure CCG.
Right. More the
know.
LCG kind of stuff. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right. My number... Are we on 7 already?
We're on 7.
Wow.
Rocking and rolling.
All right. My number 7 is a small box, very quick playing 2-player game, and that's called Blitzkrieg. This is...
Yes.
I enjoyed history, even as a kid, and I still continue to a lot. I really liked... part of the reason that I chose Age of Empires 3, thinking about it a little bit, to say a little bit clearer, I liked playing Risk, taking land from the other players, and taking... This is such a fun little distillation of the few different theaters of World War II combat put into this very quick, fun little game. Is it lucky? Yeah. But does it have really good, meaningful choices every time you place out one of those chips? Yeah. And I think that I would really just dig this to say like, oh, cool, like a historical game that's like shorter than Axis and Allies and Zombies by like a lot. This would be so cool. So yeah, just the mix of the theme, the way that it looks, it does have that kind of older map type of a look to it. Something classy about that, I think. I don't know.
This was, I mean, this was my number 11 or 12 because this is again one of those that would have been so great. It's quick. You can play 1v1 and go around. I mean, and the Nippon expansion, I love that. You played that one?
That
the
actually
reverse
has
side?
Godzilla.
Yes, it does. And it's fantastic. I do love this game a lot.
That's really cool. Yeah. No, that's good to know that it would have been that high for you.
Yeah.
Almost
Cool.
across.
Barely missed the list for me.
But I'm the only correct one. My number 7, Blitzkrieg.
Blitzkrieg.
So you said Marvel Champions,
Oh.
which is my second favorite in the 3. The Lord of the Rings, Marvel Champions, Arkham Horror, LCG. Those 3 are kind of compared, very similar systems, right? My current personal favorite. Marvel Champions is currently my second, but I think that would probably be the last one that I would have played as a teenager. I think, and then it would have been Lord of the Rings, but I got more into that IP later in life. So my number 6 is actually Arkham Horror LCG, which is also my favorite right now. But I think
I was close to considering this one.
this one right here, I think, again, just that horror theme, the guns ablazing, the little bit of deck building, where you don't have to. I think as a teenager, to completely build a deck from scratch, something like Magic the Gathering would be very, very overwhelming.
Right.
You know, and so this theme would speak to me more, as well as you can have a starter deck, but then you can customize it. And actually, through the play, you do customize it as you get the victory points and that kind of stuff and can actually upgrade your cards. That would have just been so much fun. I would have gotten excited. I would have had the time to play through these campaigns that have come out. I would have been excited to upgrade my character and to try different characters. I just absolutely think that this is one I would completely have geeked out over and just drooled over the new seasons coming up. And like you said, I wouldn't be buying packs to hope I get a card.
Right.
You know, I know what I'm getting into. I'd be able to buy this season or this, what do they call it? The campaigns. You know, I'll be able to buy this campaign, that kind of stuff. Right, the cycles, exactly. And I would have had the time to do it. you know, and I would have been excited. This is one that even now I like to take out and just look through the cards and enjoy the artwork. And as a teen, I would have been all over that. And I probably would have played through a cycle just picking cards by their artwork and then doing it again. You know, I really think that I would have played this one so much in high school and just absolutely loved it. Again, just more because of the IP,
Right.
and I would have wanted something a little more campaign to see how it went game to game, and that's why this one actually bumped out Marvel Champions and Lord of the Rings. I considered them all three, but limited myself to the one, and it would be this one. The one.
I've only played this a couple times. I'd like to play it more.
Oh, it's so good.
Is it?
It's really good. Yeah.
I need to dive into this a bit more.
Yes.
Apparently you've got everything, so I guess I'll play with you.
There you go.
All right, but my number 6 is again more the 1v1. And this is probably the reason Blitzkrieg didn't make it for me. This is another system, and this is unmatched. I really wish this existed when I was a teenager, because this right here, again, Marvel's one thing, you can choose your favorite character, but when you can choose your favorite character anywhere in the world, fact or fiction, that's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like, these Unmatched already has, like, you got Marvel, you've got history, you've got everything. It's great. I mean, to be able to battle, right now it's still fun to get Houdini versus Bruce Lee, or the Raptors versus Daredevil. All this is great, but as a teenager, man, this would be fantastic. So many different combinations of different boards to put out, different people, and you can do 2v2. It's not great, but as a teenager, you're not shooting for
You
great.
don't really care.
Yeah, it's like, it's
Do a lot
fine.
of things as a stretch. You're like,
Yeah.
there's 4 of us. We'll play this one. I swear it's great.
I mean, like, I feel like this is such a great pick too, because how many conversations did we have about just that? You know, and I say conversations, what I actually mean is arguments. You know, me and my brothers.
Yes.
for those that don't know, I have 5 brothers. So me and my brothers had a lot of conversations, right?
Oh.
About what if Houdini versus T-Rex.
You
know?
would be the same thing. Like, oh, of course Bruce Lee could be a T-Rex.
And why you're so
You want to
stupid?
find out right
No,
now?
you're stupid. No, you're wrong. You know, like, yeah, we were super mature as teenagers.
That would have been. Yeah, I know. This would have been fantastic.
I was in a punk band named Your Mom, actually.
Were you? That's fantastic. Also not surprising, but cool.
Yeah. So this is I would have geeked out. This would have been right. We would have played this.
Yeah.
Way too much.
Absolutely.
So, and then we would have homebrewed our own things too, of course.
100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
This is a great what if game.
Oh man, I would have made
know?
John Wick with the sidekick of a dog, and you kill the dog, all of a sudden his hits double. I'm like, I would have been done so much. Yeah, right? Like, man.
So yeah, you either have this annoying little the sidekick dog token like biting at your ankles.
That he doesn't do any damage, he's just annoying, but if you kill him, ooh. John Wick's going to get mad.
That would be amazing.
We're also bringing movies back.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, you can't make fun of me for the app later.
Yeah, good point.
I would
Because
have
you brought up John Wick.
Okay.
made
That's true.
Independence Day set.
No, John Wick was he was around, he was just working back then. You didn't hear about him.
That's true. It's before you retired. All right, my number 6 is in the group party kind of game category, and I played a lot of games like Taboo and such. So this is why this one makes my list, with a lot of other like very thematic, cool, like kind of wow, look at that. Oh, I want to make those stories and have those kind of conversations. But this one is not that. This one is more because of I played a lot of word game. My number 6 is So Clover. I would have loved this idea. The idea of not just teams guessing words and stuff. That was a lot of like the party games that I played when I was younger. But this, to be able to have everyone be forced to write interesting clues on the pedals on the side that match up to those words, and then shuffle up those cards and be like,
And throw another one in.
throw another one in, and then try to arrange in the way that you think that person came up with these clues. This is another one, kind of like you're saying
Just
with
like
Mysterium,
Mysterium.
where you're like, I'm gonna learn something about you today.
Right.
Apparently, this is what you think lines up these 2 words.
Right, exactly.
Oh,
Yep.
the arguments I would have had with people.
That is a good
Yeah,
point.
absolutely.
Yeah, I still have arguments. You know,
do my-
today as an adult, much more calmed down and subdued.
As we do with age.
Yes, yeah, but no, as a teenager, oh my gosh! And you can play this so fast. You can play, 1 or 2 people just giving a clue and be like, oh, that's a fun like 10-minute game.
Right.
Anyway, I got to go to class now or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right.
This would have been so fun.
It would have been good. This is a good one.
Absolutely.
Best
That's a good
nature
pick.
game for teens.
No,
Yes.
number 10.
There you go. Number 6, the best nature game of all, So Clover.
All right, so I was a competitive swimmer in my teenage years, right? And if you don't know anything about swimming, you go for like 6 hours for, I don't know, maybe 2 minutes total of swimming. And the rest of the time, you're sitting, outside of like warm-ups and that kind of stuff. So it's a lot of sitting around.
I would have taken 2-minute laps. Yeah.
Right. Okay, we do. Never mind. It's cool. I'll let your joke slide, inaccurate as it is.
I'm not kidding when I would have taken 2-minute laps. I'm very bad.
Your 50 freestyle would have been. You're like, broke 2 minutes.
You're off the team.
Yeah, you're the manager. What was I? I don't even know my list anymore. Okay.
I'm sorry.
All right.
Just imagine Chris walking along the bottom of the wall, and people are like, "Is he? Shh! Just let him finish."
He gets the pity clap. All right. So yes, so there's a lot of downtime between your events, but also you have to have the flexibility of like you're sitting there with 30 other people and one is gone, then back in. And there's a lot of in and out, right?
Yeah.
And this game, I think, would have gone to almost every swim meet with me. This is silver and gold. And I think because it's so
That's a
easy
good
to
one.
pause.
Yeah.
You know, it's quick, it's small, it's portable, it's waterproof. You know, because it has the dry erase. I mean, I'm sure you don't want to get them soaked, but if it gets splashed on, it's like, dang, that's frustrating. Now I remember where my exes are.
That is how you talked as a teenager.
Just like
Oh,
that.
dang.
Oh, dang, that's frustrating.
Yep.
As you see your
Come on,
parents.
darn it.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that I would have absolutely had this at meets to play,
I agree.
to have out. You know, because back then we weren't sitting around on cell phones the whole time. You know,
Right.
like when I was coaching, the kids did. But yeah, I just think this would have been a great. We can hit pause, go watch, you know, our teammates swim, come back, sit around for another 45 minutes, and this obviously doesn't take 45 minutes, but it has that flexibility too. You know what I'm saying? It's easy to pick up. It's going to be the waterproof. It's also easy to learn. It's very versatile. I think that this would have hit just that pass the time kind of activity at swim meets. So this one would have seen a lot of legs for that, or even you know, on the bus as we're going back and forth to the meets and things like that on my high school team. Yeah, this one would have had a lot of legs for it.
Yeah, and I just played this recently, well, maybe like a year ago, and I did like it a lot.
Yeah.
This is a great game.
For
This is
its
a good pick.
simplicity,
Yeah,
right?
that's the thing. It's one of those you look at, you're like, I don't think I want to play that. Then you play it, you're like, well, let's do it again. Let's run it back. You know, because it's so quick.
And it's so quick, but it's instantly like kind of comforting at the same time
It
because
is.
I mean, after the first slip or whatever, you have the game down. You know,
Yeah.
it's just instantly comforting. So
Yeah.
And whichever polyomino game you played first, you would be like, this is like Tetris the board game. Oh my gosh.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
but
I
those
agree.
little combos would have just been enough little endorphin excitement that I think that this would have hit a lot. So yeah, that's my number 5.
All right, so my number 5, I'm going to take what Chris said about arguments, and I'm going to just say, you know what? Let's kick that up a notch.
Up to here.
This is what I think would have been one of the.
Come on, Joe. Lift
I've
everyone's
had it up to here with arguments.
Whoa.
This
That's
is
how you know he
crazy.
means it.
Language.
Oh, right. Censored.
Just calm down. No, but you wouldn't calm down with this one. This is kind of the friend killer or the friend tester, and I still love this game in the right groups. But this is True Colors.
Hold on,
And this, if you don't know this, do you guys know this game?
No.
I don't.
All right,
What, your
this
friends
game.
really think of you?
This game is fantastic. So everybody has a color in front of them, right? Like you'll be red, yellow, green, whatever. And then you've got cards, 2 of every single color. So 2 of everybody. So you're going to say something like, who would you like to go with you if you had dinner with the president? And you'd put 2 cards out, right? So normally 2 different people. You can say the same person twice if you want to, right? And then you have to bet on who you think the group would choose. It's like, well, obviously they probably go to dinner with me and the president or whatever, you know? And so you know what people think of you, and at the end you're like, oh, so people think that you're the best bet to take with dinner and all that, which is nice when it's something like that. But then you also have the other questions like, who would you not want to go with you to dinner with the president?
No.
And
This is setting up for so many hurt feelings. Are
so
you serious?
wonderful. Oh man!
After this game, half
Come
those kids
on.
would end up in the school counselor's
It's so
office.
good. It's
No.
just, you know, you just finally get it out.
Oh, my
and it's a
gosh.
fun game. And this would be a lot of fun for me.
Oh my gosh.
What I said earlier about like, if I'm
So
not blatantly
good.
yelling, that I agree.
What's
wrong with you,
Right.
It's so
right.
No.
I don't know. Is it just me? This one's just me.
No,
I think it's just
I
you.
think
My
this is a
favorite
recipe
nature game. Right here. It's True
think-
Colors.
This is a recipe for disaster.
really is.
No.
Oh.
I would have played it as a teenager.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I definitely would have.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But anyway, that's
But
my
on my
number.
fantasy list of like the 10 best games I could send through the portal, Chris, you'll thank me later.
Right.
True
Younger
Color.
Joey's fist just punches his face through the portal. I
Yeah.
lost a girlfriend, Joey.
But see, normally these questions are not mean, but it's just a lot of fun.
It's not. I don't think the questions are mean. I just think again, like teenage emotions and mindset. I just think there's
Yeah,
gonna
I
be
guess as
they
guys,
can't process
it just
through it.
it's pretty funny. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, True Colors is my number 5 nature game.
All right, my number 5 is going to go the opposite direction. We've had a lot of like smaller, lighter, very approachable, great. Oh, great! There's a great fill in this kind of moment and everything. My number 5 goes. I'm going whole hog the other direction. I would have had so much time as a teenager because I was playing video games. I was playing guitar for a few hours a day. Like I had time to burn. You know what I mean? And so I would have loved a big O campaign. So I debated what I was going to put in here, and I think that what cinches the slot for number 5 is Oathsworn. Oathsworn is really good at both being a big boss battler with big miniatures and all that stuff. That's cool, right? Like I said, I've said before many times, the overproduction of stuff doesn't really impress me. But before you do the big boss battler phase, which is really good, before that you do like an exploration phase. And it's pretty quick, right? 30, 45 minutes or so. You have several different points on this map, and you read a journal entry, or you read entries and stuff in this very compelling, super well-written story. And your choices impact not only the rest of that phase, but it can impact the battle phase. It can impact the next scenario. Oh, this one's really impressive to me, and I haven't played as much of it as I wish that I could. You know, I know that youth is wasted on the young, is the old saying,
Right.
And
Yeah.
this is one of those cases where if I could send it through the portal, if I could fit it through that portal, young Chris I would be done with all 21 chapters already. And I'd be like, is there any more?
Right,
Got
yeah.
an expansion?
Yeah.
And they're like, why, yes, we do. Here's another 40 pounds.
Yeah,
man.
I agree. This one's so tied for me to the app of just hearing that voice read it. Do you guys use the app or do you just read it yourself?
I do
I do.
use the app.
The voice
yeah.
actor on that is so spot on as far as reading that. It's so thematic for me. This is a great pick. I love this game.
I would have put. I'll save it for later because I don't know what you're gonna send through the wormhole. So, but yes, because this one has that book that you could go through, and that would
Right.
still be novel to me back then
Right.
to be like, go to entry 1647 too, and I'm like, yes, can't wait to
Yeah,
read
yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Now I'm like, put it on the app.
Yeah.
yeah, I agree.
All right, number 5, Oathsworn.
All right, my number 4 is something that I think I'm still really into it, but I just don't have the availability because I live in southern Florida. But I grew up definitely hiking a lot, camping probably at least once a month, just very, very outdoorsy. And so my number 4 is parks. I think that this would have been so fun, and I would have had so many close ties while I was living that a little bit more than I am right now.
I thought you meant this is a board game you can't play in Florida.
Oh, no, yeah, it's banned, actually. No. No, and so I think just I spent a lot of time, going to the national parks and learning about the differences, and I did a lot of state parks as well. Just, I really enjoyed it at this time, and I think just having that personal connection to it at the time, while I still love it, I'm not doing it. Having this game while I was doing it, and just those conversations that would come up, and oh, we got this park. Hey, remember when we went there? I think that this would have just been so comforting to me and very exciting. So yeah, parks, I absolutely. And again, kind of going towards that lighter gameplay. The artwork would have been real fun, and again, just another tool to learn about the parks that I was already out and enjoying. and seeing like, oh, that's an iconic picture. Oh yeah, it looks like it. That's why it's there. Hey, I saw that hike. Hey, I know that waterfall. Those kind of connections to it would have been a lot of fun. So my number 4, parks.
That's awesome. I want to call it a quick comment. Someone said the app equivalent back in the day would be calling an 800 number.
Oh my gosh, that'd be awful,
man.
wouldn't it?
Yeah.
90 cents a minute or something.
800s were free.
Yeah.
It's
Those were
811.
800s.
Oh, that's
You're talking
right.
900.
Yeah.
What would you call? Okay. All right. So, all right. My number 4 is this. The idea of this game, I still love this style of game, but the idea of an open world in a board game where you can do whatever and you can just repeat playability, try different paths to victory and all that. So my number 4 is Western Legends. This right here, I think, would have been a blast as a teen, because you get to do something different. Because even now, I will do something different each time. I'll go good, I'll go bad, I'll focus on mining, I'll focus on, trying to get the Marshall points, or back and forth. This right here in every expansion just makes it even better. I'll rob a train, I'll do this. It's so fun. And then as a kid, I would have been able to try every single different path to victory. And the more you play the game, the better you know the game, and you'll try totally different things. And I love the open world nature. I think just that idea would have been fascinating, as a teenager, to know there's really, the goal is just this: get the most legendary points. Either way you want to do. Good, bad, you can deposit money in the bank, and then you can turn around and rob the bank. It's just, this is fantastic. It's got everything you want as a kid. So I almost picked Zaya.
I'm imagining you going to a bank, being like, here's a check for $1,200. Give me $400! Sir, it's legally yours!
You don't have to imagine it. We just play Western Legends. So this is fantastic. I almost picked Zaya over this, but the simplicity of this, I think, puts it above that as far as for my teenage years. This is such a great game. It's Western Legends. It's Red Dead Redemption on a board game. Is what it is.
I might even prefer to play this over True Colors.
No. We'll put your color in under there. All right.
I like that pick a lot.
good.
I didn't
Yeah.
think about that one.
That's interesting.
I don't know. Yeah, that game's newer. I tried it for the first time recently because of you.
Yeah, at my house, right?
Yeah.
And you did not like it.
No, I liked it a lot.
Oh, okay.
Wait, what?
You keep confusing me and Wendy. I liked it a
true.
lot, and Wendy was all right with it.
Okay, maybe it's you told me, because I thought it was the same. I thought you didn't like it and she did. Okay,
Yeah, no, I liked it a
Joey
lot.
must have told me.
But you didn't love it, Chris, and that's what bothers me.
Would you have liked it more as a teenager, do you think? I know you like it a lot now.
I probably would have liked it more as a teenager because I think I would have had fewer games as a teenager.
okay, that
and you
makes
pretty much
sense,
are going to
yeah.
like the games you have.
Any one of these on my list, I'd be like, oh,
This is
games can do this?
Yeah, for sure.
This is my Christmas
sure.
present. I need to like it.
So my number 4 here, previously I included Age of Empires 3 because wow, cool. Age of Empires as a board game. My number 4 is unofficially, in my mind, StarCraft, the board game. That's Nexus Ops. Nexus Ops is killer. I put the nicer cover up. This is the Fantasy Flight Games one. I own the older Avalon Hill one.
Oh, okay.
Because I appreciate kind of that charm and the novelty of the older production. As a teenager, though, I'd be like, no, give me this one. This is cooler.
Yeah.
The monsters look more serious instead of goofy and glow in the dark. Nexus Ops is very fun. This is a great kind of next step up game from Risk. You build up troops. The more area that you control, you get more money to build up more troops. But the game's all about completing these little objectives. At the end of every round, everybody draws a new objective. Someone described this really perfectly to me yesterday, right? The game of Risk, you make the most obvious decisions. I move my troops here. Why? Because you're weaker, I'm stronger, I can hold the land, right? Mm-hmm. In Nexus Ops, because you draw random missions, I get 3 points if I destroy a lava leaper? You have a lava leaper in the middle of all this? I'm gunning for it.
Yeah.
Why? For strategic advantage? No. For land advantage? Nope. I have a card worth 3 points if I do it. I will expend anything I can to take out your stupid lava leaper. And then you draw a card that says you want to control the most fungus, fungus terrains. You're like, oh, okay. I already have 2. I already have 2 of them. I get 1 more. So you'll just divert all of your armies, and be like,
Yeah.
it's so fun. Dice chuck in. It's just kind of an evolution, next step of Risk. And I have so much fun playing it now. I would have loved it back then.
That's cool.
Huh.
All right, my number 4, Nexus Ops.
Now, before you say something, there is one that fell off my list that I didn't put it on there because I'm like, you know what? I think it'll be on Camilla's.
Oh.
And if it's not, I'm like, whew, maybe I should have put it on. But there's one that was barely off my list. And you haven't said it yet, so get a little bit nervous.
A little nervous?
A little nervous.
Well, I hope it's not my number 3.
Well,
My number 3 is a crossover, though. Is it a crossover?
no.
No, then no, you have to wait then.
Is it with Chris?
It is with Chris.
Is it?
It is Oathsworn.
Yeah.
Yes.
This was-
and this is actually the one that I put down that I said needed an app. And I was like, wait, I don't know if it needs an app but I forget that you can play that it does have a book. I always use
Right.
the app for the thematic. So there you
Oh,
go.
so this
Look
is
at
the
that.
one. Okay.
My list is valid again. So Oathsworn for all the reasons you said. And I think just that little bit of customization with your character and being able to pick your weapon, it just would have absolutely blown my mind. I would have loved it and been able to have the upgrade system of it, tying the story into the 2 different phases would have been so fun, feeling like I had kind of a choose your own adventure kind of thing as you're making those choices and then
Right.
seeing how they play out. Again, I read those books as a teenager and in those younger years, that kind of stuff. I think that this would have been a real big thematic version of those. Just enough of that choose your own adventure, seeing how your different choices play out, upgrading your individual characters. Just every part of this would have just had me absolutely drooling. So for all the reasons you said, I could sit here and repeat all of them. My number 3 is Oathsworn.
And even though this is a far more involved game than almost anything else on the rest of our lists, I think I would have been hooked. I think I would have put the effort in to learn it.
Yeah.
Because of how satisfying that is. I forgot about the fact that you can be like, I upgrade my character. You take the mini, take the arm off, put one with a mace on.
Yes,
And
yeah.
then like, I want an axe. Whoop.
Right, yeah, I think that would
That
have
is nice.
been a lot of fun.
This is great.
Oathsworn.
This is a great pick. This barely made off my list too, because this is such a good list.
This would have been kind of my equivalent of like people that played D&D and really got into it.
Right.
They just
Yes.
seek, upgrade their characters, keep playing, seeing where the story goes. This would have been my D&D.
Right, I agree. And again, like somebody said before, these minis would have blown your mind in the 80s.
Completely.
It's like,
Completely.
what?
Right.
Yeah,
You remember
so-
what Hero Quest minis looked like, right?
Oh man, you had that treasure chest where you fold it over and you stick the sides on. It's brutal, man. All right,
You sound like someone who has like war stories.
I do. I'm like, man, I was traumatized. You broke the chest. All right. So anyway, this next one is probably my only 4X game on the list. And this is surprising, but this would have been I know we would have loved this when I was a teenager. And I love it now. But this is a battling game, and I think it would have beat anything they're playing at the time. And this is Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea. This right here, 3 boxes of wonderful goodness. Picking different factions, trying to go. I would probably even play with the undead at this point, because then I can learn how they work. I would do it. This is so good. And then I think I saw Roy at East or West or something playing the full thing with like both extra boards with the mer people and the air folk and all that. And it was like, it's just the chaos that this can bring, and you battle back and forth, and it's not that long of a game. And it's just the minis on this. There's so much going on in this game. This just would have been a killer, almost lifestyle game as a teenager. You look forward to playing this after school. You're going to get back and you're just going to run through this. This would have been great for my group. I would have loved it. So I'm comparing it to Hero Quest, and there's really no comparison at all, which it makes me laugh just thinking of it. It's like, okay, no. Yeah. So anyway, this would have, if I played Hero Quest as much, this would have blew my mind.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I love Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea. I would have loved it even more then.
Wow. Yeah, that's true. I bet I would have even liked this a lot. Like,
Yeah.
I played it recently for the first time, and I thought it was good, not my style and everything, but I was,
More aggressive?
More aggressive as a
Yes.
I played more aggressive type of games. So, yeah, I think that. Plus, it's like Warcraft. It's like Warcraft the board.
Right, exactly. That's what it is. Yeah. Yep.
All right, my number 3 is the most Euro game on here.
All right.
Most of mine have been actually very thematic or like party games or acts of aggression kind of games.
Endless winner.
No. My number 3 is basically one of my favorite movies, possibly my favorite movie of all time, as a board game, where you get to run a dinosaur park.
Oh, this is a good one.
Dinosaur Island.
All right.
Because I liked management games and economic games and that type of stuff. I mean, whatever way was available at the time.
This is a good pick.
When I was younger and stuff. But like to feel like I'm playing Jurassic Park. The game, I don't care.
Have you played Dinogenics?
I have. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Just curious between the two, why this one over that one?
And why
for
this
pick?
over World, too.
I exactly. I debated all of the Dinosaur Park games, of which and there's so many other ones, But for me, this one is a little bit more on the nose with its marketing, right? As like this is legally not Jurassic Park.
All right.
That's part of it. But two, I think Dinogenics is good. It falls a little flat for me. Like I think it's neat, but this one has so many fun little moments. Getting the amber dice with the right types of DNA that you want. That's a cool thing. And then I go over here and then I can build up my park. Yes! And then I go to this part and I'm like getting new dinosaurs. Yes! Like, I mean, every phase of it is kind of a really cool moment. Especially for me back then, to feel like it's not just Jurassic Park games back in the day were crap. They were so bad. They were always dinosaurs escaped. You play these characters that are trying to get off the island, shoving other characters into the dinosaurs. They were always so bad. So to have one like this that's so spot on,
so good,
but to be a real robust game would be amazing.
And this is one of those that I love to play. And my wife's very aggressive with this, and she has found to just get all carnivores, and and not to raise her security. So she'll just get people. She gets people eaten all the time, but her excitement level is so high, she still wins the game. And people are like, that park was incredible. Bob's gone. It's fantastic, and I love it. They fixed that in World, but that's why I think I like Island, because you can just lose people. You're like, you know what? It was a good day.
But I had fun doing it, so win-win.
This is a great pick. I didn't think of this one. It's a good pick.
Yeah. I enjoy it a decent amount now, but wow, I would have loved it younger. Jurassic World, I didn't say either word correctly.
No.
Dino Island, my number 3.
So like I said, my brothers and parents played a lot of Rook and Hearts and card games, cribbage, those kind of things growing up, and I had no interest in them. I played them each like 2 or 3 times, and because it was like family bonding time, and I think more bonds were broken than made, but that's fine too.
So that's why number 2 is True Colors.
So that's why number 2.
Crossover.
No, but this game, I think, had this one been out as a teenager, this is the game that my family would have played a lot of, and that is the Crew Deep Sea Mission. And I put Deep Sea Mission specifically because I think it's a little bit of a smoother experience with the second deck of cards that kind of integrate the symbols and stuff like that, the tokens into them. And it scales a little bit better, I think, as well. So this one, I think that this would have been that card game that we played a lot of, the cooperation, and it still has that limited communication that leads to those moments, where whether they're conversations, that happen. And, I'm trying to tell you something by playing this. Did you see that I just played this? Why would I play a pink right now? What does that mean?
You're the worst. Communication.
It's great. It's fantastic. No, and I think that would have just been a lot of fun, and it's a card game that I could have played with them. We all would have been on the same page, and probably would have played through the entire mission multiple times. I played through all the scenarios, but to be able to go the first one, the 50 scenarios, I played through them all. I would return over and over to this and try to beat it, then go and play some of my favorite missions, things like that. I think that this would be a very kind of evergreen game in my family. So. And
it's the smaller ones you can travel with. When you go on vacation, you're at a hotel, you can do whatever. Yeah, this is a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so, I didn't play too many traditional card games, like especially trick-taking games when I was younger, despite the fact that I was always around decks of cards. My dad was a casino dealer. And so I waffled if I would put this one on there. I'm glad that you did, because I think this game is so great for so many families.
I agree.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and it's one too. It's not just for families. It's not like I would just play. Fine, here's a card game I'll play with my parents. Something like that. But it is one that they were already liking those style games, and I didn't. And this is one of those that's kind of the exception for me, as well as I think they would also really like it. And it's one I would play with my friends as well. So it's not limited to just that setting. I think it would sing in a lot of again. I've talked before about the different church groups I went to, and then the swim meets. I would take them and play them, and these would be the other game that I bring sometimes in those situations.
It's a great one to bridge the gaps for a lot of groups.
My parents played
absolutely.
a rook all the time. And then I realized, too, that the bird, who has the bird, because that's the only person that flips the card upside down. You ever notice that? The bird is the only card in a rook that's got one way. He's standing face up here or head up here. So if anybody ever does this, they've got that one card.
You lost me. I played the game like twice.
You broke the game.
I loved rook. I didn't really, but my parents played it all the time, and this would have replaced it. So this is a good one.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I probably would have finished it then too. Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
Right. So my number 2.
All right. My number two is one I still play with teenagers today. Of teens from our church or whatever, they come over, and this has been play them for a long time. And the fact that when they come back, several of the Marines now, when they come back, we end up playing This Is the Game, and it's invaded like 2 or 3 shelves, and I just can't get rid of it because of people from that age group, if they're in high school or college, this is the one I bring out. I'm like, you know what? Let me introduce you to what board games can be. And this is, again, I've got shelves. You all have seen the shelves of this game, and I can't get rid of it. But this is Zombicide.
Oh, you have so much Zombicide. So much Zombicide.
I really do. And this right here, man, to get your friends together and then just to hit, so many times seeing teens play it now, that's actually us playing it there too. That's Black Plague, and there's so much. And then down there on the bottom, you see we have walls that we've made up. This, if I have teenagers or college kids or whatever, this is what introduces them to what games can be about. The co-op. Just to go campaign. And then the fact that Command puts out all these daily things you can download from their site and run through those campaigns as if we needed more content.
Right.
As a kid, I would have used more.
That's
2.0's got a campaign. So
call the 1-900 number and be like, come on, Simon, what you see my what?
They would have had a 1-900 number. Simon would have.
Yeah, right.
For this scenario, set up 3 bursters.
12 minutes. That would have been great.
Son, what are you, $500 call charges?
Right. I was playing around with this game recently, and I had one turn in it where I took out like 6 zombies or something like that. And so to your point of it being fun, like as a teenager, I think that's what this game excels at, is just making you feel those really powerful turns. You're just like, or like you just feel so cool in those moments. You're like, and you're out.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Like these guys that are now in the military, they now play it at their base. With the other Marines and stuff, and then there'll be like one guy's like, you know what, I'm not going to make it. You go ahead. And it's like, it's
Right.
fantastic.
Yeah.
It's such a good game. I know it's pure Ameritrash.
Yeah.
It really is, but it's a lot of fun.
Right.
So, and that's really any Zombicide will fit this niche, whether it's Zombicide, Black Plague, Green Horde, whatever it is. So, that's my number 2, Zombicide.
Interesting.
That's a good one.
I've still never played a Zombicide game, a single one of them. Yeah.
Oh, I wonder if you would like it though, because it is very
it's full
Ameritrashy.
Ameritrash.
Right.
It's got some Euro mechanics. Just kidding. It's got no Euro mechanics.
But I bet Teenage Chris would have been all
All
over
over it.
I bet that's one that you would be fine with. This is just me guessing. You'd be fine with now, but as a teenager, you would have been all about it. Like this is one.
Blazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Somebody had
Absolutely.
Zombicide at their wedding. I saw up there. That's interesting. All right, go ahead.
That's one way to do it.
Dress up like Gandalf isn't so weird anymore, is
This
it?
ancient ritual will determine how strong your marriage is.
Oh, that's great.
All right. With my number 2, when I was younger, I was less of a Marvel fan. I liked Spider-Man. I liked Captain America. I liked the Marvel versus Capcom games.
Those were good.
I like those. That was my main introduction
Would
to
you play
Marvel
Capcom,
characters.
though? Would you play the Street Fighter guys?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
because I grew up playing Street Fighter, but being able to throw in all the Marvel guys, the X-Men. And stuff.
Yeah, so good.
My big thing was DC. I really loved Batman. So my
Okay.
number 2 is the DC Comics deck building game.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this when Wendy and I got into it. We got into Dominion and Modern Hobby Gaming around 2011. And then a few years later, this came out. We played a lot of it and stuff. But as a teenager, being able to have all those exciting moments. I play the Bat Signal card, which gets Robin out of my discard pile. I play it to pull an equipment out, get the Batmobile, draw up new cards. Like all of those types of moments would have been so exciting. This game introduced me to a lot of the other like periphery DC characters that I didn't know much about. And so I would have gone really headstrong into this one. When I get into something, I really research it and learn all about it and stuff. This would have been that type of game for me where, like you said, I was not big into collectible games back in the day. I didn't like the idea of like booster packs and stuff. But like they come out with boxes of this, it feels like almost annually.
Oh, wow.
And they're still coming out with stuff despite how long this game's been around, 10 years.
Yeah.
And so I would buy all of it.
Okay, yeah.
This for me
cool.
would be like the Magic the Gathering, or like the
Arkham Horror or
Arkham
the Marvel
Horror.
Champions. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's,
oh my gosh, give me more Batman cards. I'm all about it.
yeah.
That's a good
cool.
one. Yep.
Yep. Number
Good
2,
too.
DC Comics deck building game.
My number 1 almost didn't make the list
That's
because I
funny.
didn't think of it. And then as soon as I thought of it, I was like, oh my gosh. And it went all the way. Like it reordered the whole list. It was like all the way to the top instantly. So it's I didn't think of it. And the reason I think I would have preferred it as a teenager is because I would have really delved into it and put the time into it. It's not a campaign, but I would have put the time into as much material as there is for it. And that's Unsettled. I think this one is written so well, and the humor in this game would have just absolutely sung to me as a teenager. I think the management of your I guess it's energy. You know, you have your little dice where it's 3, 2, 1, and then you have to rest, and having to rest one, just that very, I think, simple mechanism that you really have to manage would have like absolutely just fascinated me. The cooperation that is required in this game. You have to talk to each other. You have to plan out those actions. I mean, you have 3 dice, but you effectively get 2 items unless you have other things. I think all of these things together would have just absolutely fascinated me, and I would have really loved seeing everything that this game has to offer in all the different planets, learning the different planets, really getting into the different stories, finding those little humorous moments. I really like it now, but this is one that, even though it's not campaign, I don't have as much time as I would want to for this one.
I agree.
You know, so as a teen, having that time, absolutely, I thought of this one. I was like, oh my gosh, I would have loved the subtle humors, that kind of stuff in this. It would have. Now I really enjoy them. I laugh, you know, and I move on. Back then, it would have been like probably game stoppers for a minute as we like take that one joke and then just take it too far and keep going. You know, beating the dead horse. Then, oh yeah, we're playing a game. You know what I mean?
we never did that.
No, absolutely.
Right.
Like an hour game would have been like 2 hours, you know, just because we're enjoying it so much. And again, but then still having enough solid of a game here with the cooperation that's required, I think definitely if a teenager, I would have definitely, whereas Oathsworn gives that long-term campaign that I would have returned to every week, you know, this one would have been those one-off sessions where I just want a lot of fun, but still feel like I'm playing something a little bit meatier, I think. So, like I said, almost didn't make my list, but as soon as I thought of it, I was like, oh, that's near the top, and it actually came out number 1.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah,
That's
Unsettled.
such a good pick.
I have not played this yet.
Oh, it's so good.
I know, I need to. All right, so my number 1, it's one of those that it blew my mind as an adult. And as an adult, I mean, the people I played with, we had a core that we played for a while, and then people would set up on their phone, and they'd send screenshots like 2 more days, you know, 1 more day, and just so excited. But then, as adults, life happens, and it never hit the table again. But when you're young, you've got a plethora of time. And because we loved Hero Quest, this one would have blew our mind. And this is Gloomhaven. Gloomhaven as a teen, man, to get 1 box, and I'm not talking Zombicide is great. What drops Zombicide is there's so many different expansions and stuff. There's so much going on. This is 1 box. You get this 1 box. You show it to your friends. They're impressed by the box size. You know, they're like, this is incredible. And they're looking to the monsters and they're like, when are we going to fight this one? Just wait, just wait. So many different things you can do campaign-wise to go through it, to retire. I mean, to be able to play this, go home after school, do this. This right here this would have been played every night for me. You know, it would have been like every time your friends are over, you're going to just run through Gloomhaven. Because right now, I loved it, and it just doesn't hit the table much because the setup is extensive. It's hard to find the time to do it. So life is getting in the way of finishing this. And again, Frosthaven's right behind it. But as a kid, this would have gotten played, and I would have went through Forgotten Circles, would have did everything. So this right here, this was what I really wanted Hero Quest to be. You know, I think this, as a teen, this would have been fantastic.
This easily could have been, you know, your #1 game of all time.
Right, easily.
Yeah, absolutely.
Easily. And you wouldn't need anything else except for this game as a teen. You know, it's like this is it.
Yeah.
You would finish it. Yeah, I think this was great. Yeah.
I did consider. I think for me, this was more than I would have, like heavier than I would have wanted as a teen. So this is teen. So I think this is one that I appreciate more now.
Right.
You know, because that. But again, that's my personal taste. I can absolutely see that being the game. You know.
Yeah, I
agree. And that's kind of why I went with Oathsworn over it. Oathsworn has more of those dopamine moments in the story. Like the story exploration part is more blatant. Story and exploration and stuff.
Right,
but
absolutely.
I really waffled, Joe, on including Gloomhaven or not on my list.
Yeah, that's why I thought about Oathsworn too, but for me, Oathsworn is what the app makes that so immersive. But then also content-wise, I saw Gloomhaven as having more content than Oathsworn. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but it seems to be.
Probably.
It's got so much more. This would have kept me busy for so much longer, and the price point is lower.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
that's valid.
That's my #1, Gloomhaven.
Should be a skit at some point, like if Gloomhaven came out in the '90s, and it's just like a big roll and move, you know, fold out board. It comes in a Monopoly-sized box, but like 5 times as thick.
Yeah, right.
Now, before you mention your one, somebody mentioned the one I thought would be on your list that fell off mine.
Yeah.
Which one is that? That is Project Elite.
I almost thought of it too.
Okay. I wasn't sure if we were going to do honorable
really
mentions.
thought it'd be on yours.
Are we doing honorable mentions at the end? Because that's the one I was going to bring up as honorable mentions, and I have a reason why.
Here.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
good.
So
Because I saw somebody mention in the chat, and I was like, okay, good. All right. So forget what I just said.
Yeah. Buzzkill.
My #1 is another one of those very involved games. It's so involved that I don't remember the rules to it. If I wanted to play it again, I would have to be back in the rule book and stuff. But that's something that I would have put up with as a kid, to be able to play this game.
Okay.
To be based off of my favorite movie trilogy ever is Star Wars Rebellion.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
It's long. It's a 2-player only head-to-head, war game. That is just so cool. It is amazingly true.
Those minis would have just.
Those minis. Yes, when things looked more like the Hero Quest minis.
I know, I'm telling you.
Yeah. If you had said, Chris, you can play the Empire in this like galaxy-wide spanning 4-hour-long game, I'd be like, look, I better be able to build a Death Star if we're going to be able to play this for 4 hours. And if you looked at me straight in the eyes and said, you can build 2. I would have dropped out of school. I enjoy this game. It is not, to modern Chris, it's not exactly the type of game that I'm going to make the time for, but I still love Star Wars so much. I was a kid when the special editions were re-released in theaters, so I have this cool memory of going to the theater with my dad and my brother and watching the 3 Star Wars films, at a very cool, pivotal point in my life. And if I could have that board game experience, I know it's a lot, but I played Axis and Allies and stuff growing up, so this is actually shorter.
Okay.
And so I would have sat down head-to-head with my brother, and we would have played this so many times.
This is a good pick. Yeah. It's really good.
Yeah, I really enjoy this one. I would have loved it. So Star Wars Rebellion, my #1.
I
Yeah,
agree.
so
Nice
let's
job.
talk about some honorable mentions because
Yeah,
Okay.
like
I
I
have
said,
some others too.
so Project Elite would have been on your guys. You guys thought of that.
Absolutely. I thought of Project Elite and it was really high on the list, but ultimately I took it off because my reasoning was I don't know that I would have appreciated it more as a teenager than I do now because I already love it
You
so
do
much.
love it now.
I love it so much.
She does.
And so it's like I wish it was around in a teenager, but even though it's not, it wouldn't. I don't know that I would have fully appreciated it like I do now.
Yeah.
It would have at very best been equal to my love now.
Yeah.
And so because of that, it's like, no, it's fine that it wouldn't have done better for me because it was around as a teenager.
Right.
And so because of that, I didn't have it on there.
Okay.
So yeah, it was just that simple. It was like, to me, this list was ones that if it was around as a teenager, I would have either liked it more, had more time for it, it would have fit more into my lifestyle, something like that. It had
Yeah.
to be some exception to today.
That's interesting. Yeah, I really enjoy Project Elite. I considered putting it on my list. I think I just didn't because the real time, the frenetic feel to it is something that I don't know. I think I manage better now than I
guess that's a
would.
good
I think
point,
it would have
yeah.
been fun, but I would also just been like, I don't know,
Right.
So I think that was kind of my bigger hurdle. Like if I want to play it again right now, I'd be like, hey Camilla, you want to pull it out, and then
Right.
you kind of do some more of the upkeep for me. So
Right.
yeah.
And so instead of that one, actually, like my number 11 or 12 was Adrenaline, which I think sometimes gives, they're not similar at all in like the way they play, but it just not having the real-time element and kind of having that video game feel to it as well, you know, with the respawn, that kind of stuff. So that was the one I thought an exception of, and it just, not an exception, in lieu of, and it just didn't quite make the top 10.
Yeah, Destinies would have made my top 10
That's a
but
good one,
for
too.
the technology.
Right.
Right, like
And mine like that is Mansions.
Okay,
Madness.
and mine was Forgotten Waters.
Okay. But
So
the
I think we all
technology.
had like an app one we didn't
yeah,
include.
Lord of the Rings, Journeys to Middle Earth, same type of thing where I was like, the app really is both absolutely necessary and
Right.
is what makes that game.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree.
Yeah.
All right.
Trying to read the comments, but I don't see them bringing up anything specifically. So,
I didn't put any dexterity on there too. I thought about things like throw burrito and all that, but those I don't really consider board games.
oh, that would have been so dangerous.
You know,
You had 5 brothers. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
5
you're-
brothers. The 6 of us,
yeah.
and I'm one of the more calm.
I don't need to meet your family.
Yeah, we're very overstimulating to people when we're together. We are quite aggressive.
I enjoyed games like Boss Monster.
Boss Monster
yeah.
again. That would have been right there. The 8-bit style.
You know, that's good too. Boss Monster, because I typically play other ones instead because of just the upkeep of Boss Monster, the
Right.
setup, the tear down. You know, it's a lot, I feel like. And so I feel like at that time, when I had that time, I wouldn't have minded so much.
I probably like the idea of Boss Monster more than the reality of Boss Monster. You know, because I do love. That's why I brought up chess. I almost had Onitama on my short list because there's so many people in my life that love chess, and Onitama would have just like been, wow, let's try this. You know.
Same thing. I almost put King of Tokyo or Dice Throne.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah.
Those
Yep.
have been great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I agree
Yeah.
with that.
Somebody just brought up Quacks. I did consider Quacks as well.
Right.
It got bumped out, but it was one that I was like, oh yeah, I probably would have played that. I just think I would wanted more aha moments, you
Yeah,
know.
that push your luck. That's why Ink and Gold is such a good one.
Yeah, I went Ink and Gold instead because it's so quick and easy.
Yeah, that
Portable
mechanic.
And portable, right.
You had
Yeah.
more things to go to. Like you were a more responsible teenager than me.
Thank you.
I want
Right.
that
Thank
to be
you.
on the record.
I see Ti
I
up
accept
there
that.
too. Yeah.
Small World would have been cool. Yeah,
yeah.
I think I would have enjoyed it. Marvel United, I was very close to putting on the list, but I
Yeah.
just wasn't as big a Marvel person then.
Yeah, I don't think it would have done much for me then. At
I went
that
back
point.
and forth with that and Champions. You know, I don't know
Really?
why I chose Champions, but either one of those are interchangeable for me.
I think it's one that I definitely appreciate. You know, the opposite. I appreciate it more now than I would have as a teenager.
I think price point wise, my parents would not have bought me Marvel United. I think that would have
It
went
would
too.
have bought you Zombicide.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point. It wouldn't have bought me Zombicide. I couldn't play D&D.
Oh, another one
Tom Hanks.
Another one I considered was Mechs versus Minions.
Yes,
Good
I
one,
thought
Did you
yeah.
guys think about that too? Gosh, I think that programming,
Yeah.
it would have just absolutely blown my mind. But then at the same time, I think it would have led to such frustration, you know, when you're up against that wall and you just can't do, you're like, well, you know, like, I was also much less patient as a teenager.
Shocking.
It can get worse, yes. So that's why it didn't quite make it, as I think just the frustration would have been a little higher.
A lot of people are saying Twilight Imperium, which I totally get,
Yep.
and I agree, but I went with Star Wars on my list.
Okay.
Right.
Or Star Wars Rebellion.
Those are,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I could have put, mind you, like any of the recent Star Wars games. Like I was debating between Rebellion and Imperial Assault, and I'm blanking on the other
Okay.
ones. But like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, the Clone Wars.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Pandemic. Like any of those, I would have loved. But like Star Wars Rebellion is the epic of Star Wars.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I agree. And I've seen Clank on there several times, and that one would be on my short list too, because that has a push your luck dungeon crawl. Mixes two of the things that have been great back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot of good ones on the chat there.
Yeah. No. Absolutely.
So many.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, this is a. May you continue and share in the comments what you would have liked as well, because I'd love to see that. We'll be reading through those and going, don't forget that one.
Yes.
Well, thanks for joining us on this fun little fantasy adventure of
Yes.
ours called Quasi Nostalgia.
Quasi.
Quasi.
Yeah. Well, this is the last live thing for this week.
For this
right?
week,
Yep.
right? Yep, not till Monday.
All right. Yeah. Tom will be back. He's flying back from Gamma now, so Monday we'll be back to more normal, so you get to see him then. But until then, my name is Chris Yee.
I'm Camilla Cleghorn.
I'm Tom Hanks. Joey Evans.
All
We wish.
your fault, Tom.
I wish I played D&D.